Who dat to the Who Dat Nation? Welcome to the Who Dat Say podcast, your podcast for the New Orleans Saints here on the KB Radio Network. I am your fellow Who Dat and host of the Who Dat Say podcast, Kevin Reed, and the Saints fall yet again. And for the fifth time this season, the Saints have tasted defeat as they lose to the New England Patriots 25-19. This puts the Saints at a less than impressive record of 1-5 on the season thus far. The New Orleans Saints have many problems, ladies and gentlemen. They are in serious trouble. I don't even know where to put. I don't know where to start. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know where to start with this team. Well, let me start with me. Am I surprised that the Saints lost? No. Am I upset that the Saints lost? No. That's the crazy part. I'm not upset that the Saints lost this game. I'm just mind-boggled by the fact that this team finds a new way to lose every week. It's baffling to me that this team cannot put it together. We are 6 weeks into this season, and they look the exact same as they did week one. Or I can go back further. In the preseason, there's nothing improved on this team at all. There are no improvements. Nothing looks better. Nothing looks like, okay, or no one, I should say, no one looks like they are progressing in this offense or on this defense. They just look like they're there. The Saints are there. And you go last week. Saints won the game last week. Very impressive. Really happy that the Saints came out with a victory against the New York Giants. But when you sit back and really think about the fact that the New Orleans Saints, they defeated a team that turned the ball over 5 times and only scored one offensive touchdown in that entire game, you really have to sit back and evaluate everything in its totality. That this team struggled. If the Giants only turned the ball over 4 times, the Giants win that game. Just look at it. Look at that game. You know, Giants gave the Saints that game. And we go this week against the New England Patriots, who come into this game, yeah, they're at a record now. They're 4-2, and they came in 3-2, but it wasn't like they were world beaters. They were struggling just like the Saints were struggling. You know, rookie head coach, well, not a rookie head coach, but first-time head coach over there in New England, a quarterback who has something to prove, you know, second-year quarterback just like us. It's carbon copy of each other. But one team looks like they're ready for prime time, where the other team looks like I can't even describe them. I cannot describe the New Orleans Saints right now. Once again, we fast forward to this week, coming off of last week's victory. Saints only scored 1 offensive touchdown. They got into the red zone multiple times and could not punch it in. It makes 0 sense to me. And this is an offensive-minded head coach in Kellen Moore. And you can't figure out how to score points? Yeah, they can move the ball. I give them that. They move the ball up and down the field on the New England Patriots, something they've been doing the entire season. They've been moving the ball on defenses. That's in spite of the offensive line playing like trash. That's in spite of the wide receivers couldn't catch a cold butt naked in the middle of Antarctica. It's in spite of the fact that the play calling has been scarce and that the running game has been scarce. They still are in every single game. They were in this game. There were moments in this game the Saints could have took control, could have took the lead, could have probably held on to that lead and won the game. But at no point did I sit there and watch this game and feel like the Saints were going to win. Even when the first play of the game, when the Saints took that shot down the field, a 53-yard reception by Chris Olave, set him up pretty, and I'm still sitting there like, I don't think the Saints gonna win. And sure enough, what happened? What was the end results of that drive? A field goal. Couldn't do anything with it. They cannot do anything with it. They cannot finish off a drive. We get back to the penalties. The penalties, once again, rears its ugly head and happen at crucial points in this game, which points to an undisciplined team not being coached correctly. I don't know what they're doing in practice. I don't get it. It's amazing. It's really, this team should be studied. Just look at these first 6 games of the season. This needs to be shown at every camp, on every team, in every offseason. This is what we are not going to do. As a team, we are not going to continue to shoot ourselves in the foot week in and week out and expect a fan base to stand behind you and cheer and get excited, spend their hard-earned money on watching a product that is not going to give us that same energy. There is no fight in this team. Yeah, they play the game. They play hard at times, but there's no fight in this. The only player on this team, on this 53-man roster that played today, that actually gave it their all, was Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler played his heart out. Unfortunately, nobody else came along with him. And it's sad. I feel so bad for that dude. Spencer Rattler is not going to be the future quarterback of the New Orleans Saints. That's etched in stone. Certain fans, there's a contingent of the Who Dat Nation that don't want him as the quarterback. They're going to get their wish. And eventually it's going to be Tyler Shuck. But Spencer Rattler is going to go somewhere. He's going to get an opportunity. And he's going to make all of those people look stupid. Because this dude can be a good quarterback in this league. Great? I don't know. But he can definitely be a good quarterback. You look across the field, look at Drake May. Drake May is not that dude. But you couldn't tell by watching this game today. He tore the Saints defense apart. Tore them up. Ate their lunch. Why? Because they seized opportunities. Spencer Rattler was playing just as good as Drake May. Actually, they were pretty even. When we go over the numbers, they were pretty even the way they played. But you can't tell by the results. Whereas you have the New England Patriots, they scored touchdowns. They finished off drives. Then you have the New Orleans Saints. They kicked field goals. Couldn't finish off a drive. You turn one of those field goals into a touchdown, we're talking we have a different tune right now. We're probably winning the game. It is unbelievable that the Saints cannot finish a drive. Drake May, once again, a second-year quarterback. He completed 3 long touchdown passes. 3. And the Patriots only added a field goal late, but it was all 3 big plays. It was big plays. And those plays, receivers were wide open. In the NFL, wide open means you got to step on a cornerback or a safety. When you have a step, you're open. When you're wide open, that means there's no one around you. There was nobody around these dudes. And their best wide receiver did absolutely nothing today. Stephon Diggs, I think he caught, 1-2 balls? We'll go over the numbers in a few. But he did nothing. He did not contribute to this win. That's the crazy part. You can't name any other receiver from the New England Patriots, but you can name them now because they ate the Saints secondary up. Wide open. Just running past is one thing. I can live with the fact you jam a receiver on the line, he beats the jam and just shoots off. He has 2 or 3 steps on you. It is what it is. You know? It's another thing if a guy just run past you free and clear. Just free and clear. Nothing, nobody around. No safety help, no nothing. And that happened 3 times. Well, 3 times that resulted in touchdowns, but it happened multiple times in this game. This defense is horrible. Brandon Staley, I thought he was going to be the difference maker. I really did. I thought he was a good defensive coordinator. But during the game, they showed a graphic, and it clicked in my head. When he had the #1 defense in Los Angeles with the Rams, he had Aaron Donald. He had Jalen Ramsey. He had a defense. He had talented players. Now, granted, you got to coach those talented players, and he did a good job of doing it. I give him that. But when he went off and became the Chargers head coach, their defense was trash. Pure trash. And I'm like, what happened? What happened? What was it? He didn't have those players. Same thing here. He doesn't have those players. And he can't coach them up to anything. He can't coach them up to do their jobs correctly. The defensive front is so embarrassing to watch. It's like watching a high school team, honest to God. And that, no disrespect to high school teams, because I've seen them with better gap discipline. They leave gaps wide open, not only for running, but for the quarterback just to scurry off. Drake May isn't Mike Vick. He isn't Lamar Jackson, but he can scurry. I mean, they made this dude look like a superstar. From one point in this game, I want to say for the majority of the first half, it wasn't until late in the second quarter till he threw his first incompletion. I think he went like 10 in a row or something crazy like that before he actually threw an incompletion. It's amazing. It's amazing. It was like watching throw up tackle, you know. It was pitch and catch out there. The secondary, the front four, our linebackers are slow. Demario Davis, I love you to death, but it's time to go. He is slow. Pete Warner is slow and can't tackle. It is embarrassing. This defense is embarrassing. This offense, I don't understand the play calling. I don't understand the packages that they run in there. Why did we go get Devonta Verley? What was the point of getting him? Why did we trade for him if we're not going to throw him the ball and get a big body receiver out there? Because these smaller receivers ain't cutting it. You have Brandon Cooks out there. You got Chris Olave. You got Shadeed. You got all the. They're small. They're small. And when you have a small quarterback, you need to have big targets. We don't have that. There is none of that. Well, you have it, but you're not playing them. No, we rather trade for wide receivers that's not going to play till next season. Make that make sense. They are not helping this guy at all. Your receiver's not helping this guy at all. I don't know the count on how many drops Chris Olave had today, but it was ridiculous. It was the touchdown. The touchdown. It was there for you. It was right there. It was a big third down conversion. Oh, yeah. Oh, was it a second down? I forgot what it was. Second or a third down. Hit him dead in the hands twice because it bounced off his hands. Then while he was going down to the ground, it hit his hands again, and he still couldn't catch it. I'm ready to put a hook in everybody on this team. I'm serious. Everybody is on the trade block for me. There are no exceptions. Yeah, that includes Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara, I'm sorry, but the time has passed. Alvin Kamara there's no fighting his run. You look at him run today. He ran the ball like it didn't care, like it didn't matter. He didn't fight for extra yards. It was a 3rd and 7, I think. He got the ball. He was 2 yards or 3 yards away. He runs out of bounds. Now, granted, it was somebody in front of him. Most likely he wasn't going to get the first down, but at least fight, make it a 3rd and short. Like a 3rd and 1 or something like that. Fight. I'm looking at Kendre Miller. He's fighting for yards. He's fighting before he even gets to the to the line of scrimmage, and he's still getting about 4 yards. He's fighting. That's what I love to see. I can live with not getting my busting it wide open. Just give me a fight. There was no fighting him. There was no fighting nobody else. This was embarrassing, man. This was more embarrassing to me than the Seattle Seahawks game. This was embarrassing. There was no effort. There was no situational football being played here because the game was never, at no point, out of reach for the New Orleans Saints. But it felt like sitting there in my recliner, just sitting here watching it, it was like, man, this was 30-0. That's the way it felt. That's the way the Saints played. No matter how close the game was, how many opportunities the Saints had, I never felt like the Saints were going to get back in this game. And it was a one-possession game for 75% of it. This is bad, man. This is bad because these are problems that can be solved, but we're 6 weeks in and there's no effort to solve them. We're still doing, this is pure insanity. And if you know the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result every time, that's what the Saints are doing. This is insanity. And nothing has changed. And it hasn't clicked in nobody's head. I'll give them this. They did do one thing different. There were shots down the field today. I give them that. They actually took shots down the field. Some were successful, some weren't. But they actually opened up the offense just a tad bit. Taysom Hill, he came in for that one play for our sole touchdown in the game, but that was it. Did he get hurt? Is he injured again? I don't know. Nothing was said. I don't know what's going on here. But it is mind-boggling how the New Orleans Saints just look like they don't care. This team look like they don't even care that they're 1-5 right now. They're like, okay, well, we tried. If I didn't know any better, it's like they really are tanking. But what are you tanking for? Who in this draft coming up next season? Who are you tanking for that you think will change the direction of this team? Is it Arch Manning? Arch Manning can't save this team. Nobody can save this team. You have players on this team that are talented enough to be a respectable team in his league. I'm not saying it's a championship team here by no stretch of the imagination, but they are a decent enough team to be better than 1-5 at this point. I don't know, man. I don't know. This is disheartening. It really is, because I really thought that the Saints would be better than this. I thought the Saints would, at least at this point of the season, be close to 500. 3-3, or at worst 2-4. But right now, no, man. This team looks like, I don't think they'll win another game. I don't. I honestly don't. And it gets easier, theoretically. And the Saints are out of the playoff hunt. You might as well go ahead on and book them. And we haven't. Picture this, people. We haven't even played a division game yet. We haven't even gotten into our division. We've yet to play the Carolina Panthers or the Tampa Bay Bucks or the Atlanta Falcons. We haven't played them yet. But I'm looking at them fighting. I look at Tampa fighting. Man, Carolina just beat the Dallas Cowboys. We are. I mean, it is. I don't know, man. Whatever. Let's go over the stats here. it's not much to say about this game. It's really nothing we can say other than the fact that we suck. we legitimately suck as a team. And we are, if we're not the worst team in the league, we're definitely 31st. But I'm pushing for worse because I don't see any effort. But let's go through the stats today, beginning with the passing leader for the Saints. Of course, it was Spencer Rattler, who had a solid day. This is what's infuriating, man. Spencer Rattler was 20 for 26, 227 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. That's the problem. No touchdowns. That's where the problem come in. But this dude was 20 for 26. Drake May, he was 18 for 26, 261 yards, and 3 touchdowns. You see, you look at the numbers, and it's like, well, Spencer Rattler had a better completion percentage and whatnot, but Drake May had 3 touchdowns. You know, that's the difference. Rushing. Our leading rusher today was Alvin Kamara. You want to hear the numbers? He had the ball 10 times, 10 carries for 31 yards. That's 3 yards a carry. That's all he did. But you want to hear something even more? You want to make that number look worse? You want to know who the leading rusher for the New England Patriots were today? Drake May. Yeah, their quarterback. Here's his numbers. 9 carries for 28 yards. I'm just gonna leave that there for y'all. Let y'all chew on that for a second. Leading receiver today, Saints leading receiver was Chris Olave, 6 catches for 98 yards. Should have been 8 catches, but it is what it is. For the New England Patriots, Keyshawn Boutte, he had 5 catches, 93 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Yeah. Sacks today. Pete Warner got a sack today, and Harold Landry the third had a sack for the New England Patriots. Leading tackler today was Devon Gautreaux, a former New England Patriot. He got our defensive tackle. He had 3 solo tackles, but 7 tackles total. And for the New England Patriots, Robert Spillane, their linebacker, 5 solo tackles, but 11 tackles solo. And I wanted to point this out. It's not normal that your leading tackler in the game is your defensive tackle. I know tackle is in his job title, but it's normally the linebacker or the safety. I've never seen the defensive tackle lead the team in tackles. That is so strange to me. But moving on to team stats, total yards today, the Saints had 296 total yards to New England's 333. Saints had 1 turnover. That was the fumble by Juwan Johnson, the punch out that really just sealed the game for the Saints. And that was it. Saints didn't force any turnovers on New England's side. Total first down, Saints had 17, New England 19. Penalties today, New England, they led with the penalties, 11 penalties for 65 yards. I will say this, and I'm going to be fair and honest here. A lot of those penalties were BS. They messed over. They really were messing over New England. That's another part of this game that was frustrating. The refs were actually looking out for the Saints here. They were trying to give the Saints the game. We still couldn't do nothing with it. Saints had 8 penalties for 67 yards. For third down conversions, or third down efficiency, I should say, Saints were 3 for 9. And New England Patriots were 6 for 13. Fourth down, Saints never attempted a fourth down conversion, whereas New England tried twice and got it once. In the red zone, Saints defense was great in the red zone. Of course, New England never got to the red zone but one time, and they didn't convert. That's when they had 50 penalties when they was at the half-yard line right there on the goal, and they end up being pushed all the way back to the 20 or something like that, and had to settle for a field goal. Saints, they were in the red zone twice, and that's a shock to me, because I thought it was 4 times, but they were right outside of the red zone. But anyways, officially they was in the red zone twice. They only got 1 conversion. Time of possession, Saints had the ball for 28 minutes and 16 seconds. New England, 31 minutes and 44 seconds today. The NFC South standings as it stands right now at the time of this recording, Tampa Bay is currently playing. Atlanta plays Monday night, and Carolina has already played at 12. But as it stands right now, Tampa is still in the lead with a 4-1 record. Carolina is 3-3. Yeah, Carolina is 3-3. Atlanta is 2-2. Once again, they play Monday night, and the Saints sit at 1-5. The grades for today's game against the New England Patriots, in case this is your first time listening to the show, how we do the grades: we grade all 4 phases of the game: offense, defense, special teams, and coaching. Round them up and come up with an overall grade for today's performance against the New England Patriots. Beginning with offense, C-. The Saints moved the ball up and down the field. They did a great job of moving the ball, yet couldn't get a running game going. Had multiple drops. They couldn't finish off the drives with 6 as opposed to field goal. And a lot of it was play calling. A lot of it was player error. And the end results are a loss. The offense gets a C-. Defense gets a D+. It is inexcusable. You only had 1 sack today. Pressure wasn't there. I mean, Drake May was just frying fish in the backfield. It was nothing for him to do. You know, he had all the time in the world for wide receivers to get wide open, and just waited until them guys got open. I mean, Demario Douglas, I've never heard of this guy, and he ate the Saints secondary up. And the line, anyway, they get a D+. The special teams gets a C+. Field position was horrible, with the punt. The only good thing you have today, oddly enough, is Blake Grupe, who kicked not 1, not 2, not even 3, but 4 field goals today. 4 attempts and 4 made. That's the shocker, because last week he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, but here we go. He was today's leading scorer. But go figure. Coaching gets a C-. Well, it's basically everything I said. I really have nothing else to add to it. It's abysmal, lack of adjustments, lack of urgency, lack of situational awareness. And I'm being very kind with the C-, but it's just it's frustrating. It's really frustrating. With that, this gives the New Orleans Saints as a whole an average of a C- for an overall grade of today's performance. It should be lower, but I gotta respect the numbers here. But in my heart, it should be a D. But they get a C- today. It's just, I don't know, man. How many more weeks we gonna have to go through all this? And what can you say as Kellen Moore or Mickey Loomis, whoever gets in front of a podium and a microphone? What can you say different from the previous 4 weeks that you lost? Not counting last week, because you really couldn't say much last week. But what can you say different? Oh, we're going to get better? Or we're going to pull a Dennis Allen? Oh, we got to clean up? Every week we got to hear that? I mean, what more can you say? Oh, I got to get better. I got to put my guys in. I ain't even see the interview, but I bet you these words are uttered. Oh, I got to put my guys in better position and all this. Man, miss me with all that. Miss me with all that. I need stop talking about it and do it. Do it. It just gotta stop, man. Change what you're doing as a team, because what you're currently doing is not working. It's not working. At this point, season's done. It's time to start putting players in there to see what you got. Put in Devin Neal. Put in Mason Tifton. Put in all of these players, that are riding the bench normally. Let's see what you got. Maybe you hit something there. Stop being loyal to these players that aren't producing on the field. On your job, ladies and gentlemen, if you were not living up to snuff, they're going to find somebody that will do the job right. Am I correct? I know on my job, that's how it go. If you're not living up to what they are paying you to do, they're going to find somebody that will do it. Every job I've been on, and trust me, I've had a lot of jobs. And so why for the New Orleans Saints, it doesn't matter. Why there's no accountability here? Why these guys feel like, and that's part of the problem. They know that their jobs are secure. And hence, they're going to give you not 100%. I'm not even going to say they give you less than 50, but they'll probably give you 75, 80 on a good day. That's what they give you, but you'll never get the full 100. Something has seriously have to change over there on airline. Next week, the Saints will travel to the Windy City to take on the Chicago Bears. And guess who is sitting there waiting for us? None other than Dennis Allen, the defensive coordinator over there. And so I would imagine he's going to have a field day because he wants to stick it to the New Orleans Saints for firing him. So I know there's going to be a lot of emotions there. And so we'll see how that go. And then you have another storyline built in there, Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams, the quarterback for the Chicago Bears, he's the one who took Spencer Rattler's job in college. That's why Spencer Rattler left Oklahoma and went to South Carolina, because Caleb Williams came along and they gave him the starting job, and he moved on to South Carolina, and the rest is history. But up to that point, Spencer Rattler was a first-round prospect, but they just pulled the trigger on Caleb Williams, and the rest is history. As I said, Caleb Williams ended up being a first-round pick, as per Spencer Rattler, who was a fifth round. So there may be some beef there. he may want to go over there and prove that the Oklahoma Sooners made the wrong decision, or the Saints made the right decision, or whatever. However it go, I don't know. But we'll see how they go. But I don't know. Saints gonna lose that game too. From this moment on, until times get better, until the Saints show me something different, I'm not picking the Saints to win no games this season, not one, because they haven't proved that they are willing to change. But that's just one man's opinion. I would like to know, what did you think of today's game? Do you see any signs of hope? And I don't want to hear about Tyler Shough. I don't want to hear about it. Quarterback is the one position on this team that's not the issue. Look deeper than that. Act like you know football. If that's going to be your answer, just keep it to yourself. I don't want to hear about Tyler Shough. There is no spark Tyler Shough can give this team to make any bit of difference. I'm sorry. Tyler Shough will get his opportunity. Trust me. But now's not the time. It don't even make sense at this point. It don't make sense. You just putting them in. If they put Tyler Shough in at this point, you're just doing that because you don't like the man. You don't like Spencer Rattler. Because Spencer Rattler has not given you a reason to pull him out of the starting position. He hasn't cost you a game. He hasn't done none of that. I'm telling you, he's the only one fighting out there. There is no reason to pull him out. And so please, if you have any other reason than Tyler Shuck, I would love to know, what can the Saints do to turn this sinking ship around? Get it, plug that hole and get it back to port. Please let me know. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for this show on all social media platforms. Just look for the KB Radio Network. Also, while you're looking for the KB Radio Network, look for that channel, the KB Radio channel, or the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube, and subscribe and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the Who That Say podcast here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this recap of the Week 6 matchup between the New Orleans Saints and the New England Patriots. The New Orleans Saints have yet again lost. They are currently 1-5 on the season. I'll see you later on this week, next week. However, is this the next week? How does it work? I'm 46 years old. When does the new week officially start? Is it on Monday or is it Sunday? I know a lot of people say Sunday, but I still hear people say, oh, next week, when they talk about Wednesday or Thursday or something. You know, I always felt that weekend, and I know I'm going on a rant here, but I'm just trying to get my mind off the game. For me, it starts on a Monday. That's when the new week starts, after the weekend is officially over, but whatever. But I'll talk to y'all before the Chicago Bears game, the Week 7 matchup, as we preview that game. And until then, even though I'm in a state of purgatory right here, don't know if I'm coming or going with this Saints franchise, guess what? I'm still gonna be yelling and screaming from the top of my lungs, who that